The Road Home by Penstroke. Chapter 14. Easy Twilight. That was absolutely delicious. Warm laughter rolled around at the table at Kane's words. She sat back in her seat, patting her pregnant belly and licking her lips. The group found themselves in the warm, welcoming embrace of Lumberton. Most of the populace had gladly welcomed the royal family of the Crystal Empire. Their presence, and Lumberjack's infectious enthusiasm, was rousing an impromptu festival from the quiet mountain town. Lumberjack Lodge became the heart of the celebration. Rusket behemoth of a cabin, constructed of stacked logs on a stone foundation, often acted as a home base for tourists. Hikers in the summer, campers in the spring, and skiers in the winter found the lodge and the staff wonderfully welcoming. The people in the fall sadly never came by. For tonight, Lumberjack's Lodge's great doors were propped open to the street beyond, where dancing and food stalls had assembled amidst the lantern light. The inn's interior was crowded, but there was not one pony who complained about the tight quarters. The space was filled with laughter, tears, and song. At the largest table, Twilight and everyone else ate, drank merrily, enjoying a feast of a meal. It was like a heart-warming dinner with all of the trimmings, and everyone greedily ate of the spread. No one was excluded from the table either. The Flim Flam brothers sat to the left of Nyx, with Twilight on the right, telling of all the marvelous things they invented in their dream world to her. Spike was on the other side of Twilight, regaling her with tales of superheroic exploits in Metropolis. On the other side of the table, Kane's and Shining sat. Maud was to their left, and to their right was S-43 and Biscuit. The short diamond dog had eaten like a possessed canine. S-43, disguised as a plain mare of greenest tones, was allowed to sip ever so gently on Kane's love for such a craving of a love-conquering meal. And at the head of the table, roaring with laughter and eating almost as much as Cadence, was their self-proclaimed host.
Ah, Cadence! You have appetite like my wife had! Your child going to be big and strong, Lumberjack is sure!
The burly stallion leaned back on his own plate, stomach satisfied.
But what of everyone else? Surely, little doggy would like another piece of pie!
Biscuit!
Brr.
He burnt as he sprawled out on the pony-sized cushion he had given. Biscuit! Oh, he must have passed out!
Too bad. Lumberjack was impressed by how much little doggy was eating. What about everyone else? Come, there is plenty to go around.
I think we're good, Shine said with a chuckle, as he held and nuzzled Cadence. She settled to his shoulder, yawning and drifting silently on the edge of sleep. Thank you so much for all of this. You really didn't have to.
Ah, when best customers visit, Lumberjack always does best.
He rose from the table, stretched, and began trotting towards the door.
But now I see my beloved weaving to me. Street and its music are calling. Lumberjack will return, but now I must dance.
Before you go, has there been any word about the guards? Twilight's words caused many of the smiles around the table to fade into concerned expressions. Keynes came back from the edge of her nap, and joined everyone else who looked at the Lumberjack. I noticed someone come over and whisper in your ear earlier, Twilight said. Lumberjack turned to face the table, putting a hoof down on a hoof-carved pine.
I'm sorry, but there has yet to be any word. There are no signs of struggle or beast attack around Lake. We believe they wandered back into forest, searching for all of you once more, but cannot be sure.
If they haven't turned up by morning, I'll start helping with the shirts, Shining said. I know they're guard trained, so I should be able to figure out what they are going to do. I need a doctor! Yes, the pain, it is too much. The convulsions of this child threaten to rid me of Sana. Get it out of me. Then lavish me with love once it's out. But first, you must get this tiny body out of my belly. Every eye in the lodge was turned to the front door, where a sizable group had stormed to the lodge amidst shouts and melodrama. The missing guards were at the lead of the group, 4 of them supporting a fearless symbol stretcher on their backs. They, however, were the only unique faces amongst the group. The mare on the stretcher was the spitting image of Cadence, though her belly was swollen to the point of near absurdity. Another Shining, Twilight, and Maud were behind him, each panicking like chickens with their heads cut off. Lumberjack turned to face the group, while Shining and Twilight rose out of their seats. The guards looked amongst themselves, panting to keep their breaths, and to making no effort to hide their confusions. The clones of Shining, Twilight, and Maud had fallen silent and well, clustering close together and inching towards the door. Yet the copy of Cadence kept on going, bemoaning her condition so that old Lumberton could hear. "Oh, by the white horse of the sun, I can feel it! I can feel it! Dragging itself after me! Hurry! Hurry, rock ponies! Oh, the pain and agony of this is unbearable! Oh, if only I was born a superior changeling, who does not need to worry of full birth, and must simply trust in the highest glorious queen, words continue existence!" A chirping filled the air, like the sound of a cricket, and emanating from the doppelganger of Shining, and the sound made the melodramatic Cadence snap her shut. She abruptly stepped up in the stretcher, as if every drop of pain she had been screeching about was gone. She looked across the room, eyes fixedly settling on Cadence seated at the table. They stared at one another for a few seconds. Then there was a second chirp. The fake Cadence's eyes moved up a little, focusing on Maud, who stood up from her seat as well. In the burst of fire, the four changelings dropped their disguises. They were bruised and battered. The changeling leader, who had been one impersonating Cadence, had some bandages around his middle. Still, despite their injuries, they moved with incredible haste. Stumbling and fighting over one another, they dashed out to the door and took to their wings. All the while, the leader screamed to the heavens, "Flee! Flee! It is not great at all!" The changelings soared towards the tree line, the panic and chirping growing to a sympathy in the night. Other silhouettes joined the irresolute few, changelings that had been at the ends of Lumberton following their retreat. The last he left was deathly silent. Last sentry, Gem Shield, Lapis Lance, and Ardent stared at the real Shining, dared not to move a muscle until someone else did. Shining took a step away from the table, and the four guards snapped to attention, letting the stretcher constructed out of tree limbs clatter to the floor. The rest of those sitting in the lodge began to whisper, murmuring about the changelings, questioning what was going on. Shining came to a stop directly in front of the four stallions, eyeing them while wearing a firm frown. His gaze moved between each one, and chuckled and waved a huff.
At ease, soldiers. Sit down and eat something. But, sir, we just...
Flash Sentry tried to say. You thought we had all been thrown by the Ouroboros in the same direction. When you recovered, you heard Cadence shouting about going into labor. I doubt I would have done anything different if I had been in your position. Shining turned to look at the lodge, and rest assured, the Crystal Empire will be addressing the slight changeling presence that had been uncovered in this mountains. None of you are in any danger at this time. These changelings are very disorganized. And they're stupid. S43 said coldly, drawing a few more whispers and murmurs from the crowd at the lodge. No matter how you describe them, I'll be dispatching Crystal Empire forces to deal with the outposts as soon as we return. The mood in the lodge lifted, thanks to Shining's confident words. The four guards nearly collapsed from exhaustion and relief. Shining couldn't help but laugh as he caught them with his magic. Soon, a few of the young mayors from Lumberton swooped in, flirting and giggling as they helped the guards to the table, where they could eat and rest. Shining followed, but as he did, Keynes leaped over and tapped S43 on the shoulder. I don't know exactly how hives work, but if you aren't compelled to go back, I think the Crystal Empire can make room for another refugee. Biscuit's already volunteered to be a royal regime inspector. You'll be carefully watched, for at least for a little while, just like Biscuit. But I imagine you'd like to get a fresh start away from all those other changelings. S43 smiled. Idiots, princess. They are idiots from a bad clutch. But I guess that's where I got lucky. They were born without brains. I was born with enough free will to tell my queen to go get her horns stuck in a tree. The Crystal Empire saw in your dream, princess. It's exactly where I want to be. King smiled and gave S43 a peremptory pound on the shoulder. Then sat back up straight in her seat. She used magic to serve herself another piece of pie. Then she looked over at Maud. Now, what was all that great terror stuff about? Maud returned to her seat, and gently replaced her napkin on the collar of her dress. Then reached in her pocket. I got Boulder back, she said as he pulled a small stone out for all to see. With the crystal locomotive the guards used at the bottom of the ravine, we'll probably just have to wait for the next train. Last sentry left early this morning to tell everyone back at the Empire we're safe. It carries some orders I have for the General. But I think Cadence would be more than happy to stay here in Lumberton until the train arrives. Twilight nodded as she and Shining sat on the patio of the Lumberton Lodge the next morning. The others were still asleep, or were just getting themselves out of bed. Twilight would have likely joined them, but she slept so well she couldn't help but get out of bed early. It had to have been a dreamless sleep, and such a scene was a welcome blessing after the many nightmares she endured. I guess there's no sense in rushing at this point anyway. For once in my life, I can't imagine doing research right now. Shining openly laughed as Twilight took a sip of her coffee. Not tea, but good black coffee. Never thought I'd see the day. After all the impossible things we had to deal with on this trip, that should be the thing that surprises you the most. Twilight said as he tipped her cup down. I mean, how can an Ouroboros get that big? What was it feeding on? Napping dragons? Not only that, but we were dogged by diamond dogs, chased by changelings, and all handled because of a random rock slide. The last time I heard of such a crazy adventure, it was one of your Obelites and Ogres campaigns back at school. The one where your character reaches max level, I think. Shining nodded. I remember that one. It was pretty crazy. Gaffer had never been the GM when a character was likely to hit max level. He really pulled out all the stops. A world-ending curse being cast by a world-ending creature with the help of a world-ending sized army. I remember there was this one roll where the giggling and singing of a filly cut Shining off, causing both him and Twilight to look down the street. They saw Lumberjack walking with a young filly they had gotten to meet the night before, his bi-spectacled granddaughter, Pink Rose. Her sobs were a triumph, and her laughter could not be contained, as she pranced around with her grandfather, her filly scout uniform. I'm getting a scooter, I'm getting a scooter, it goes to shoot can stop me, I'm getting a scooter. What's the celebration about? Twilight asked, as Lumberjack and Pink Rose climbed the steps of the lodge. Up to that point, Lumberjack had been smiles, watching his granddaughter present joy. Yet, when Twilight's words hit his ears, he turned to look at him. His smile fell, and he stared at them only because becoming aware they were sitting on the patio. Pink Rose, however, was not as stunned. As he went galloping up to Twilight Shining, he pulled a scrap of paper from her Philly Scout sash. I just got the check for the biggest Philly Scout sale ever! Shining whistled, seeing the number written in the check. That has got to be a lot of Philly Scout cookies. Yes, the person who ordered the cookies is going to be giving them out at this big party. Pink Rose laid the check on the table. It was a funny thing. The papers seemed to be of two kinds of materials fused together. One side was almost like construction paper, while the other was the kind of cardstock that Twilight would expect to be used for a high-quality business card. The lettering was uneven, and the numbers nearly illegible, but as her eyes wandered, she noticed the bottom of the check. Specifically, the signature line. In those two blanks, things had been scrawled out. Perhaps the most legible letters on the entire check. Memo. You'll see. Yellow. Signature D. Cord. Twilight's eyebrow twitched.
No, Pink Rose. Didn't I teach you it's rude to bother bonus?
Lumberjack skipped up his granddaughter and dropped her on his back. He was wearing his smile again as he quickly took the check and passed it back to Pink Rose.
Tonight and Shining, we're having nice talk over coffee. That coffee smells good. I think I'll have a...
Lumberjack? How did you end up at the lake again? Twilight asked, in the most dark rumble in her voice. Her horn was glowing, her magic holding down Lumberjack's hooves to prevent him from stepping away. You mentioned a map? Lumberjack opened his mouth to reply, then forced a laugh as he glanced away.
Brady Grape, you put me in a tough place,
he said before looking back at Twilight.
Do not be mad. If I had known what was happening, I would have rushed to your aid. But we were not told as much. I simply heard of a house that appeared on top of a mountain. My little granddaughter. She needed to sell her cookies. I took her there, and thinking house owner would at least have money for Philly Scout cookies. Did not realize you encountered your good friend at the Chronicles. He was willing to buy. Just that we take map, and when it rang like bell, we go to where X-Mot spot. Twilight held her breath, fluffing her cheeks as she tapped against the table, like trying to squash numerous bugs in a quick succession.
She tilted her head skyward, then finally exhaled as he sank into her seat and let her head rest on the table. Her magic dissipated, freeing Lumberjack from the short-lived bindings. He is so turned to stone when I get back! It's not so bad. You had a little offense, all right? Lumberjack said. Shining cleared his throat. Though Twilight couldn't see it, she imagined he was shaking his head.
You should have some coffee. It really is good. Yes, yes, I will do that. Have a good day, my friends.
Lumberjack's hooded fossils signaled his departure. No Lumberton lost and opened shut. Once more, Shiny and Twilight were alone in the refreshing morning. Yet all the figure had drained away from Twilight as she stared at the table, eyes hid by the bangs of her hair. You really think Discord was behind all this? Shiny asked. Twilight managed to turn her head upward, resting her chin on the table as she looked across the table to her big brother. Yes! Yes, he was! Of course he was! Who else could have made an Ouroboros get that big? He was probably doing it some weird test to make sure I deserve to learn the repair spell. That any good friend would want to make sure I was magically capable of handling such a powerful spell. Don't you think Princess Celestia would have tested me if she thought the spell was too advanced for me? Stone or not, I am not trusting any shred of mail he delivers ever again! Is that why you wanted to come to the Crystal Empire? To look up a spell? Yeah! Twilight said. She could not summon the will to lift her head off the table. So she just cracked her mouth open, made a straw out of magic, and used the straw to take a few sips of her coffee. Then she laid the magical layers on the table. I was going to tell Cadence and you once we got to the Empire on the train, but we all know how that turned out. Still, Elixir is the name of the spell. It's supposed to be an old griffin spell that can just repair anything. I was going to use it to fix the library. Shining stared at the letter, while Twilight drank her coffee through her straw. He tilted his head, built his lip, then laughed a little. That laugh fell into a frown, then to a smile, then back into a frown. Eventually, Shining brought a hope to his face, rubbed his eye, then sighed before looking back at Twilight.
You said Discord delivered the letter from Princess Celestia, right?
Yes, Twilight said, not taking her lips off of the magically manifested straw. How mad would you be if I thought Discord made a forged the letter? Twilight tensed, a surge of air going back to her straw, causing her coffee to spitter. The straw dissipated, and she sat from her seat and slid her froze on the table. No! No, he wouldn't dare. That was a letter from Princess Celestia about a spell to help me fix the library. That's going to help me fix everything. I hate to break this to you, Twilight, but Shiny called on his own magic. From a copy of the spell Twilight had written out on the table. Then he lifted up and flipped the spell horizontally, did the counter for some errors, and adjusted some of the pacing. Then he laid it back on the table. Twilight felt a shiver down her body as she read the new words formed by the same layers. Twilight is silly, she said aloud. She gritted her teeth and flared her wings. Twilight is silly! She puffed her cheeks and began to shake, as if her body was trying to contain this explosion. Twilight is silly! She managed to keep herself standing there at the table for a few moments, then took off on the patio with the force of a firework, then flew high into the sky, screaming into the morning air like a vengeful storm rumbling across the landscape. Ahem. We here at Speaker Studios and Martial Arts Users Channel would like to say that the following may burst your eardrums. So, those of you currently wearing headsets, please turn down your volume to its lowest level. Thank you. Discord!
You serious, Stoner?
Yeah, she got it over the town and landed on the other side of the river. Mrs. Hose's vice claws thumping against the boards of the wooden bridge was connected to homes of Lumberton to the heart of its industry. The mills bordered the river on the south side as it flows west to east, sporting large water wheels from their sides. The wheels turned about with the rest of the water, the relentless march of water going down to the ocean, driving its saws to cut the rates its famed timber. The smell of sawdust hung about almost constantly in the air. The road was peppered with flakes and bits of wood that were shaken free by the mill workers as they went to and from their homes. Under the noon-hour sun, the lumber mills were at their quietest. Many hard-working stallions and mares were on their lunch, or congregating in the singular park that stood amongst the hills. Normally, despite working for competing companies, the workers would mingle, laugh, and speak of the day's labors. There was camaraderie, but on this day it was all put on hold because of an unexpected intruder in the workers' normal routine. Twilight sat at the gazebo itself, where it stood on the river's bank. There, she looked out across the river, magic turning and twisting constantly as he manipulated the water. She had formed a sculpture at the Golden Oaks Library. Almost every facet of detail accounted for her, and at 1% at half scale. She was entirely enthralled by her efforts, taking no notice of the onlookers as he continued to spell cast. She didn't even turn her head as Nix and Spike managed to squeeze through the crowd and ran closer.
Are you okay?
Spike asked as he and Nix ran out to the gazebo.
Shining told you what you two figured out. Then he rallied almost every Pegasus in town to look for you. Cancel would probably gone too, but Shining managed to convince her to wait for the laws to come back. She is mad at Twilight. What are you doing?
I am going to see if I can turn water into a tree. Twilight didn't turn her head, kept her eyes focused on the water. Spike took his steps closer, since he was perceptive on Twilight. He saw damp lines of fur on her face, as well as the spots of the gazebo's wooden floor where her tears had fallen. A small fabric bag rested on the gazebo's railing. Did Discord say something when you found him?
No, because I didn't find him.
Twilight's magic faltered, a part of her water sculpture falling back into the river. She rubbed her eyes in with a huff, then went right back to her original position as tried to reform the fallen branch of her liquid library. By the time I found his lair, he had already sold it. Some Griffin's going to turn it into a ski resort or something. Discord even gave it away for free. A huge manor of a tree he grew out of a mountain. He just gave it away for free. All the owner had to do was show me a table! Spike glanced at Nix, who could only stare at her in confusion.
Why would Discord want you to see a table?
Spike asked as he looked back at Twilight.
So I could see these!
Twilight's magic wrapped around the fabric bag and tossed it behind her. It hit the floor of the gazebo and spilled. Tiny figurines with familiar colors tumbling into view. Spike stared at this pile of pieces, before reaching out to the one that shared its purple and green colors. It was all Discord. He had a map of the mountains and these game pieces laid out. I don't know how he did it. No one was mind-controlled, as far as I could tell, but this horrible trip has been a game for him! Twilight shuddered, rubbing her eyes even as anger billowed her voice. And the spell that was supposed to fix everything is just a big lie! Twilight, it's silly. I can't believe I didn't see that! Zoro tricked me. Now all the other repel spells are probably worthless. Too much time has passed, and errant wind probably blew all the ashes away. I'll never fix the library now. Her magic surged, and the sculptures he had been so painstakingly working on burst. Water splashed through the river onto the banks. All that was left behind was a sculpture of the library as it now stood. A twisted, splintered stump. What happened to the library? Spike clenched his teeth as both he and Twilight turned around, looking at Nix for both vow, her mouth trying to form words that her mind couldn't grasp. Spike looked at Twilight, saw a familiar expression. All their effort to steal Nix or the truth had just been blown away. What happened? Nix asked again as he looked at the splintered sculpture in the river. Twilight's magic vanished, her liquid library glancing back into the river. She quickly rose to her hose. She reached out for Nix, but the little filly pulled away. I was going to fix it before you came home. I just wanted to fix it. I'm sorry. The library is... During the fight with T-Rex, Twilight's eyes closed and hung her head. It's gone. I teleported to it, just for a second. I just wanted a vantage point of the fight. But T-Rex saw where I went. And he fired a blast, and it was coming too fast. I couldn't stop it. The only thing I could think of doing was grabbing Ulysses. It's my fault, Twilight said, stomping her hoof. I made a mistake. T-Rex wouldn't have destroyed the library if I hadn't gone there. got everything burned to ash and cinders. My first gala dress, the one Rarity put so much work into, it's gone. Slumber Parties 101, gone. Sparring pants and the Mare-to-Well costume, gone. All the pictures I've taken with my friends, gone. Our home, it's gone. Everything? Nyx asked, a tremble in her voice. She was shaking her head, as if that might make the words go away. She moved up to Twilight, trying to get eye contact. What about our favorite storybooks? What about my treasure book? What about our bed? What about Spike's comics and his pictures of Pee-wee? It can't just be all gone. Twilight's head sank deeper, a few tears escaping her eyes and falling to the gazebo floor. But her tears were not alone. Nyx's eyes were water. She kept shaking her head, even as she dropped back into a sitting position. She rubbed her eyes and was trying to form words, but couldn't. The truth had fallen on her like a flood from a busted dam. Twilight was offering no consolances. Spike felt his chest tightening as he watched the two. He kept glancing back and forth, hoping Twilight would say something to make Nyx feel better. Hoping Nyx would manage to say something to make Twilight forgive herself. But neither did. Nyx was reeling, and Twilight was guilt-ripping. Spike even felt himself trying to tear up. He lost a lot too. He lost his home, his basket, his gems, his comics. But he had been sad about that, and almost got over it. His family hadn't. Twilight had been in denial, trying to fix the problem like it would be her failure. Her mistake in the heat of combat never happened. Nyx hadn't been given a chance. The policy of trying to hide the truth from her was now bearing rotten fruit. Something had to be said. He couldn't just stand there and watch them like this. I don't care! Spike's loud shout made Nyx and Twilight look over him. Tears still fresh on his cheeks. I don't care about all that, Spike said, his claws balled in fists. You know what I was worried about when I was T-Rex hostage? I was worried I'd never get to see you two ever again. But Twilight, you and everybody else beat him. You sent him back and saved the day. You even saved Alicious. You've been hurt, or worse, if you hadn't thought to save him. Twilight, what happened to the library isn't your fault. But Spike, Twilight tried to say. But Spike continued on, not allowing the interruption. No buts. You saved Equestria. You were amazing, and nothing to feel guilty about. It sucks. I'm sad the library's gone too, but it could have been a million times worse. But you can't change the past. You should know that better than anyone. You actually tried! The only thing you shouldn't have done, we shouldn't have done, was keep all this a secret. We're a family, Spike said, walking closer to the filly mare. He reached out his arms, gesturing for a hug. We shouldn't have secrets like this, because we only make it worse for each other. We can get through this. I know we can. But we have to be there for each other. Nyx and Twilight glanced at each other, tears still dancing in their eyes, a smile now forming on their faces. They moved closer, the three tightly hugging one another at the center of the gazebo. I'm sorry, Twilight said. If there's anything I learned on this crazy adventure, it's that you two are strong enough to know the truth. I promise to try to be better about it in the future. But is it okay to still be sad about the library? Nyx asked. Her lips trying to hug Twilight and Spike with all the strength they could muster. Yes. Twilight said with a nod as she nuzzled into their faces. It's okay to be sad. Losing our home is a sad thing. But we could be happy, too. We could be happy we survived. We could be happy Katie and Society will be having their fall soon. We could be happy that our friends will always be there to help us in Ponyville. We just have to be honest with ourselves. Hey, this was what I said! Spike's attempt at humor brought laughter to Twilight and Nyx. Before the two could react, Twilight scooped him up in her magic, spun him around twice, laughing as he squealed with delight. Then she pulled back into another tight hug. We'll always be a family, Twilight said, as he kissed Spike and Nyx's foreheads. I won't let anyone ever change that. I won't either, Nyx said. Spike nodded affirming, puffing out his chest. I'll make a dragon stealth on it, he said as he and Nyx were let down by Twilight. The three smiled at one another for a few moments. Then Twilight's eyes happened to flip up. Her cheeks flushed and she forced to smile wider. Uh-oh.
What is it now?
Oh, nothing. It's just that we have a bit of an audience, Twilight said. She lifted a forehoof and waved it gently, causing Nyx and Spike to turn around. Nearly every mill worker who had been extremities in the park were looking at the trio. They were all smiling as they ate their lunches. Some even waved back. Nyx and Twilight gently waving to the onlookers, while Spike chuckled and whispered in Twilight's direction,
Will I continue this heartfelt family bonding back at the lodge?
Yes, I do. Twilight answered.